Hey friends, so as you can hear, I am actually just getting over COVID right now, so I'm still kind of stuffy and hopefully that won't bother you too much. But today we're going to talk about 10 ways to reduce visual clutter, and I just wanted to start with the why. Why should you reduce your visual clutter in your house? Why is that such an important thing that I'm willing to have a whole video based on it? I think we all go through times in our lives where we have high highs and we have low lows. It's just a part of life. Things happen. And during those times, I don't have as much energy as I normally would to clean my house, to put things away, to make sure that the clothes are cleaned and the dishes are washed. So having less visual clutter, it allows your brain to kind of settle. But when you can find your home as your peaceful place, a place of respite, you are going to be able to deal with those situations a lot better and a lot more at peace and calm and be able to think through A to Z what you need to get done. The first thing that you need to do in order to reduce your visual clutter is if you're looking around your house, any flat surface or any wall that you might have decor, I want you to reduce them to 3 or less. 3 or less things that you see in any given space. On the bathroom counter, I only have 3 things that I keep out, and I put them on a tray. Having those beautiful picture walls are great, but if it's not something that you can keep up with dusting, changing the pictures out, keeping it nice, then that's something that's going to become a stressor when it should be something that you enjoy looking at. So I actually took down all of my picture walls that I used to have just because I was constantly changing out the pictures. I never knew how many I should have. I always felt like I needed to add one more. It just never felt complete. So if you're struggling with finding the right decor or having so much that you don't really know what to do with, it's hard to clean, then use the 3 or less rule as much as you can throughout your house. Number 2 kind of seems weird, but it actually works really well, and that is having a tray. If you have 3 things, like in my bathroom, I have hand sanitizer, I have soap, and I have my face wash that I keep out on the counter just because it's something that I use all of the time. Well, instead of having those 3 little things separated and moving around on the countertop all the time, I put them on a small tray. When you have little things that you want to keep out on flat surfaces, makes it just look a lot more visually appealing and makes it look more like it's one thing. That's a trick I learned from somebody else who was like an interior designer. I remember being like, oh, well, that would make a lot of sense because those 3 things on our bathroom countertop kept moving around all the time and it didn't look as nice. And so it's amazing. The second I put them on this small wooden tray, it all kind of changed and it does look a lot more put together and nice. If you have jewelry that you want to keep out, if you have makeup that you want to keep out, toothbrushes, things like that, if there are things that you really in your life you need to keep out on a flat surface, try to think of getting a little tray that you can put and say, this is the home. I'm not going to have more than this tray. And it kind of makes it in your brain feel like one thing. Number 3 is crucial if you really want to reduce your visual clutter that you see out all the time, and that is having some hidden storage spaces. So anywhere that you might have a closet or a cabinet, using that storage space as best as possible. So getting some small containers to put your things in. I even like to get bigger containers and then I'll have smaller containers inside. You can see that in my bathroom. I've used that a lot. If you haven't seen my bathroom makeover video about our closet and how we have stored everything on our closet, then I'm going to link that below as well. But having little containers around your house that make things a home is really going to help you. So in our downstairs closet, we have baskets for shoes. We have a basket for any kind of outdoor thing that we might be using when we go straight outside because it's near the door. And we also have a hat and scarf and gloves basket. So those things don't just float around our house. You're not seeing shoes around our house all the time or hats and scarves on the ground because they all have a home that's hidden away in the closet. All right, so number 4 is something that I was extremely uncomfortable with and didn't really understand until I got into it, and that is to maintain some empty spaces in your room. So whether it's an empty corner in a spot of a room or some empty walls where you don't have any pictures at first, it made me feel very uncomfortable to have blank walls. And now, if you look around my house, I have lots of blank walls. And it's amazing how much that mindset has changed for me because I've realized that with some blank spaces, I really have more space to think and process. Sometimes I have a really hard time calming my brain down and not thinking so much about like the lists of things that I need to get done or the problems of the world. I mean, it gets crazy. But when I have some blank space, it's almost like my brain can shut down a little bit easier. And I find much more peace in having some blank spaces. Now, I still have some things that I really enjoy having out that bring me joy and I think are beautiful, but creating a few blank spaces around your house is going to definitely help the room feel much more calm and easy to be in. And number 5 is definitely going to help you do this. So what I would do is do some kind of either box party or just take out everything in one room and just slowly bring it back in. I've done this in almost every room of my house, and it always helps me because when I see decor over and over again, it just becomes like background noise. Like I don't realize, I don't even think about, do I like this or not? It's been there for so long. But when you actually take everything out of the room, whether it's just decor or it's everything, and you slowly bring back just the things that you need and you love, you realize there's a lot of things that you probably have in your room that you don't really love, that you're just used to seeing them all the time. Taking away a lot of those things, putting them in a box, and then slowly just bringing out the things that you miss is really going to help you do a declutter a lot faster if you're having a hard time figuring out what you want to get rid of. All right, guys. So if you like learning about minimalism and decluttering, then remember to put a like emoji down below and let me know that you are decluttering and minimizing with me. And remember that if you want more videos about minimizing, decluttering, and living your best life, then please hit that subscribe button and you'll get my next video next week. All right, let's go to number 6. Number 6 is life-changing, at least it was for me, and that is to designate some blank space in your kitchen. So we have a very small kitchen. Well, yeah, small compared to what you see in American-sized houses now. So it's from the 1960s, and we don't have a lot of counter space. So even as someone who I cook a lot, but I don't love cooking, I find it small. So what I've done is I designated one countertop that is blank. I don't put anything on there long term. There's nothing that I designate to have to stay there. So it's just empty. So every time that I go in the kitchen in the evening or in the morning, I have this blank space. I don't need to think about where I'm going to put things down or cook. I already have it. So if you can find some little blank space in your kitchen on your countertops that can just be designated for cooking, it's going to make cooking much more enjoyable. And along that, it goes with the rule that I said of 3 or less things. So in our kitchen, we also only have 2 appliances out. So we have the Alexa where I get all of my recipes. So I don't need a bunch of recipe books. And then I also have my coffee maker. So those are the only 2 things that I keep out. And really, it's because our kitchen is so small, I can't really have anything extra and have space to easily cook. It just creates a lot less visual clutter, and it makes me actually want to be in there more when I don't have to look at all that mess all the time. All right, so now that you are taking all these things out and you're really processing what you really need, I want you to donate or sell all that extra furniture. So when I was first starting out, I had, I don't even know, like 10 to 12 side tables, maybe more. All sorts of coffee tables. I'd go through coffee tables all of the time. I never really could find out what I really wanted. And so once I really decided that I wanted to declutter and I wanted to live with less things, the furniture definitely had to go. So I got rid of all of our side tables. We don't even have any in our living spaces. Having all that furniture that I constantly have to clean, have to keep up with, have to move, just became such a headache. It was just too much for me to process. And it's always something that I had to think and look at. And it just was such clutter. I really didn't need it. So anything you don't need is clutter. I would say at least 3 pieces you could probably take out in every room of your house. And it's going to feel so much lighter. All right. So number 8 is one of my favorites. And it's because it helps me so much. So getting a label maker or getting just some stickers that you can write on. I will link my label maker below because it's a super simple one. But I label anything around my house that I find that is constantly being misplaced or put where it's not supposed to be put or left out. I will label where it should go. So you don't need to label everything in your house, but really pay attention to what is going on in your home. Are there always shoes out where they shouldn't be? Are you always missing the scissors and never know where they are, or the tape? Where are the things that are constantly being lost and misplaced? I want you to put a label. It actually has been proven that our brain makes connections. When we read things, we make connections, and it becomes much easier for our brain to relate that, oh, I see this label here. I can read it. This is where this should go. And we make connections. So the more connections that you can make in your brain to where things should go, the more often you're going to be able to find them, and the more often your family is going to be able to put them back where they belong. So I'm actually going to go label where my daughter's coat should go. I hadn't labeled it before because I did put a separate little hook there on the door for her. I thought that would be easy enough, but often she is not putting her coat away where it should go. So I'm going to put a label there, and I'm just going to see if that also helps. All right. So number 9 is to have a clean sink every night. And it's one of those things that it's taken me years to get used to, because I would start and then stop, start and stop, start and stop. And then I would just give up on doing the dishes at night. So what I've done now is that we have taken a lot of our dishes away. So that's where I would start if I were you. Take a lot of your dishes away and just keep out what you actually use as a family every day. And then I want you to either wash as you go, or at night, I want you to say, this is what I do at night, and make it a routine. So in our house, we wash as we go as much as possible, but there are definitely dishes that occasionally get put in the sink that we don't have time to clean. We have other things going on. And at night after dinner, we just wash them all. We either do it as a team, or maybe I'll cook or my husband cooks and I'll wash. And so working as a team, but really when you come down the stairs in the morning and you have a clean sink, it is amazing how much your mood can change and how easier your life feels, how you can get started with your day a lot better and faster because your sink is empty. So number 10 really reminds me of my dear mother-in-law who might watch this. So she has been looking for 2 new recliners in her living room. So she has all of us over, so she needs more furniture. And so she's been looking for these 2 recliners. Well, she bought these ones that she thought she really liked, but then it wasn't exactly what she wanted. Like, they hadn't exactly done the pattern exactly as she thought it would be. And, she spent good money on them and really had a vision. And so she called them up, and they ended up taking them back, bringing her brand new ones, and they still weren't exactly what she wanted. And instead of settling, like a lot of us do, this is good enough, she is now returned those, and she's starting that journey again to find exactly what she needs. So number 10 is to stop settling. Stop giving in to things that are from Marketplace or from Goodwill or wherever, and you just think they're good enough for what I want. Don't settle anymore. You don't deserve that. You deserve to get exactly what you want, whether you have to save a few extra months for it, or whether you just have to wait for the universe or God to provide for you. It will, and it will come into your life when you need it. What do they always say? When a door shuts, a window opens. It has been so true for me. There are so many times where I have now said, no, I don't want that. Or, I really, really like this, but it wasn't what I was looking for. And there are so many things, like I even think about this sweater that I found yesterday, and I was like, wow, I really, really, really like this, but it's not what I was here to look for. So I put it back down. And you know what? I didn't need it. I'm fine without it. And I walked away, saved $15. And it's amazing when you have a change of perspective. You deserve to get exactly what you really want and stop settling for things that aren't that. All right, friends, thank you so much for hanging out for a little while. This was all about visual clutter and how it can really impact your life, but how you can get rid of a lot of it and live with a lot more peace. If you've enjoyed learning about minimalism and decluttering, then remember to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next week.